You are not lost. You are in between. And those are not the same thing. If you've left something, a marriage, a career, a country, a person, you built your whole life alongside, and you haven't arrived anywhere yet. If your days feel grey in a way you can't explain to anyone, and if you're functioning, showing up, holding it together, and somewhere underneath all of that, you're quietly asking, who am I now? I want to give that stage a name today because it has one. And once you have the name, everything about how you experience it changes. Stay with me. I call it the grey. Not the before when you're still in the thing, still managing. Not the after, the new chapter, the clarity, the sense of arrival. Everyone assumes follows a major life change. The in-between, where you've left something or something has been taken from you, and you haven't landed anywhere yet. And I want to say something here that I think doesn't get said enough. When people talk about women navigating loss and transition, they almost always default to one image: divorce. They forget the widow, the woman who didn't choose this, who didn't decide the relationship was over, who had her future taken, not changed, taken, and now stands in the exact same grey in between. Same loss of identity, same question, who am I now that this is gone? Same days that look fine from the outside and feel like anything but. If that's you, I see you. You are not forgotten in this conversation. The grey doesn't care how you got there. Divorce, widowhood, a career you left, a relocation that didn't work out, a child who launched and left, a silence you weren't prepared for. The circumstances are different. The grey is the same. Let me describe what the grey actually feels like. Because I think that's a part of why it's so hard to carry. It doesn't look like anything from the outside. Your life looks intact. You're functioning. You're still showing up for everything and everyone who needs you. So the people around you assume you're fine. And you don't know how to explain that fine and the grey are not the same thing. Because how do you say, I'm not broken, nothing is technically wrong, I'm just somewhere between who I was and who I am becoming. And I can't see the next step from where I'm standing. Most people don't have that language. So you carry it quietly, alone. And here's something else about the grey that nobody tells you. It's not always sadness. Sometimes it looks like exhaustion that sleep doesn't fix. Sometimes it looks like avoiding decision you'd normally make quite easily. And sometimes it looks like feeling flat about things that should feel exciting. People call that laziness. It isn't. It's grief wearing a different coat. Grief for the life that ended. Grief for the version of you that existed inside it. Grief for a future you'd built in your mind that isn't happening anymore. You're allowed to grieve that, even quietly, even if no one else recognizes it as loss. I know this stage from the inside. I've lived it more than once. After an international move that turned around within a year, because I had outgrown my own homeland and didn't know it until I was standing back inside it. I went home expecting to feel like it was home, and it didn't. The streets were the same, the faces were familiar, and I felt like a stranger, invisible, foreign, standing in the middle of a life that used to fit and didn't anymore. I also know the grey that comes after loss. I raised my children through grief that didn't have room to fully process, because falling apart wasn't an option when there are other people involved and depending on me. And I know what it is to look in the mirror in the middle of all of that and not quite recognize the woman looking back. And not because something dramatic happened in that moment, because something gradual had been happening for a long time. I don't look like what I've been through, and I'd guess neither do you. I want to tell you something that might be hard to hear if you're in the middle of this right now. The grey, as disorientating as it is not a problem to fix. It's a passage, and it might be the most important stage of the entire transition, because it's where you find out what you're really actually made of. Not in the dramatic moment of leaving, not in the crisis, in the ordinary days of the in-between, when there's no external pressure forcing you to move. Just the quiet internal choice of whether you're going to stay in the grey or start moving through it. And here's something I've noticed. After years of doing this work, the women who come out the other side of the grey, who find their voice again, who get clear on their direction, who start making choices they can trust, they almost never say, "I wish I'd stayed in the grey longer." Almost every single one says, "I wish I'd done something sooner." So I want to leave you with the distinction I opened with, because I think it matters more than anything else in this video. Lost is a state of being. In between is a stage of becoming. One feels permanent, the other is temporary, even when it doesn't feel that way. The grey doesn't mean you've done something wrong. It means you're in the most honest, most disorientating, and most important part of the journey. The part where, if you're willing to stop performing fine long enough to actually hear yourself, the next chapter begins to take shape. Not all at once, not with a fanfare, just a quiet, honest knowing. This is the direction. This is what makes what comes next good for you. And if you're in the grey right now, I want you to leave this video with one thing. You are not lost. You are in the in-between. And that distinction is the difference between staying here and finding your way through. If you want help with that, I work with women navigating exactly this. The link is in the description, or just come find me. I'd love to talk.